86,400. That sounds like a pretty big number, especially if you're considering money, or as my mother used to say, buttons or beach rocks. So just what is that number? Well, that is the number of seconds every single person has in every day. So why are some people more productive with their 86,400 seconds than others? Well, most of it comes down to how they invest their time, their energy, and their abilities. Like money, time and energy are both valuable, and we don't want to waste either of them. Hi, I'm Donna Schlachter, and I'm thrilled to be here with you. I'm a writing coach with experience and expertise in publishing, marketing, writing. I have more than 20 years, in fact, of experience, and my passion is to help authors get their books from where they are to where they want them to be. I want to help writers realize their God-honoring biblical gift of writing, how it is important, and why it's important. So today, my goal is to help you understand the connection between time, energy, and your abilities as we operate in our strengths. So first, I'd like to start with a scripture verse. 2 Corinthians 3:5. This is from the English Standard Version, and it's sort of my paraphrase. Not that we are sufficient within ourselves, but our sufficiency is from God. That's something very critical for us to remember all the time, that we need to lean into God and trust in His plan for our lives. So I want to give you some practical tips and suggestions to help you make your time more productive. First thing in the morning, before your feet even hit the floor, we should pause and ask ourselves a couple of questions. Number one, what is the most important thing for me to accomplish today? And the second question would be, and how long is that going to take? So whatever scheduling or planning system that you work, and I'm not going to make any suggestions specific to that, I'll just tell you that I use a calendar on my phone. Whatever system that you want to use, whether it's a written list or a digital list, or I recommend you put it somewhere other than just in your head, because it's really easy to forget and overlook those things we don't really want to do. But it is important, and in fact, it's critical to our productivity to be able to get that most important thing done. I would suggest that whatever time you think it's going to take, that you add maybe up to 50%, because things always take longer. One of the ways I'm going to suggest that you make that time in your schedule is your email. And I know a lot of us get caught up in that. Mostly it's a waste of time, unless you're waiting for information that's necessary to the most important thing you're going to do today. So what you should do is set up rules that send emails that you don't normally read, send them directly to your spam box. If you feel really weird about doing that, send them to a folder called To Deal With Later. You can always check your spam box every day before you sign off for the day, or your To Deal With Later box. And then if any emails have slipped in there that you really do need, then you can feel free to move them back to your inbox and then deal with them. I'm also going to suggest that you unsubscribe from newsletters and news sources and the like that come into your inbox every day, especially when you don't read them. Again, set up a rule, send them to spam, check it. You can skim through the headlines or subject matter and see if there is something that you need to read, or you want to move it to the To Deal With Later folder. That's fine. Emails that you need to follow up with but aren't urgent, once again, move them to another folder. You can set that up by the sender address, by the subject line, and sometimes you might even want to have several folders. Another way to open up your time to get the most important thing done today is to schedule any meetings that you have control over at the end of the day. And I'll talk a little bit more about scheduling meetings and how to avoid wasting time at meetings. The second thing I'm going to suggest that you do is delegate. You know what you do well. You know what you don't do well. And no matter what price somebody is offering to do a job for you, most likely you're going to be better off to have them do that job for you so you can focus on your most important thing. Most often, we get stuck in procrastination because there are jobs we don't want to do. There are tasks in our day or a week or a month that we really don't want to buckle down to. Find somebody else to do it for you. That will really save you from wasting time and energy on finding reasons not to do it. Mark Twain, at least it's attributed to him, said, "If the only thing you have to do today is eat a frog, then eat it first thing in the morning. And if the only thing you have to do today is eat 2 frogs, eat the biggest one first." So you definitely want to schedule your most important tasks in your most productive time of your day and do it then. For most people, your most productive part of the day will be the first few hours of your day. Other people I know are night owls or evening owls, and that's fine too. Just make sure you understand what your energy levels are, your time commitments, other things that might be going on your calendar. And I'll talk a little bit about a habit tracker following here. The third thing is you want to manage those time wasters that steal your time. You want to use tools that will help you, not harm or hinder you or slow you down. An example would be if you have to send out a bunch of text to people, use the voice to text function. There's also similar functions within email and within most word processing packages. So learn how to use that. It will save you lots of time. Limit screen time, particularly during the most productive time of your day and even during the day when you're trying to get other tasks done. Instead, you might schedule screen time, and I'm talking about social media, FaceTime, looking up things on the internet. Schedule that for in the evening when you're watching TV or relaxing or whatever. Take regular breaks throughout the day. You want to change your focus about every 20 minutes to something at least 20 feet a day, 20 feet away. If you are looking at a screen, for example, it can be very tiring on our bodies and our eyes to constantly look at screens. Just like in the old days when we had paper mail, now I'm going to suggest that you handle email just the one time. Again, set up those rules, get them out of your inbox. If you're in control of a meeting, you need to have an agenda for that meeting. Have a time to meet, a time that the meeting will be over, a reason for the meeting, and keep everybody on track. Don't wait that extra 5 minutes to make sure everybody's going to join. Get started on time so you don't train them to be late. And then if by chance you don't get through the entire agenda, then you'll need to set a time to reconvene and do it then before the meeting ends and have everybody check their calendars to make sure they're all available. One of the things that I use, as I said, is my calendar. My husband and I share a calendar. That way we don't overbook or double book things. And we have found that very useful. So I would suggest, especially if you don't use your calendar that way as a scheduling and planning tool for you, for work, for your family, that you might think about having a shared calendar. Avoid multitasking. Nobody multitasks well. I don't care what they say. It's just not possible to divide our brains between 2 diverse functions at the same time. So avoid doing that. Stop trying to talk yourself into your need to do that. And instead, focus on that main thing that you're trying to accomplish today and work on the other projects. Fit them in after the main thing is done. An important and critical part of most of our lives is staying healthy and staying fit. Nobody has time to be sick. I keep telling my husband, I don't have time to be sick, so I'm not going to get sick. My world stops when I'm sick, when he is. So you want to stay healthy. Do what you need to do. Get that exercise. Take regular breaks. Eat well. Get plenty of sleep. With the exception of a very few people, Winston Churchill supposedly was one of them, who through the entire Second World War never slept more than 4 hours a night. But apart from people like him, very few of us function well without enough sleep. So please make sure you get that rest that you need and make sure you drink plenty of water. As I mentioned, there is a habit tracker in the Thrive Journal that you've downloaded as part of this summit. And it will help you schedule particularly the different aspects of your life all on one page, and the days of the week and the times that you need to do that. So I would suggest you keep this habit tracker for at least a week so you can kind of see the things that are on your calendar, when you have the most energy, when you start to flag, if you do better after eating or after taking a quick break. You'll find a pattern, really, and it will be a good tool for you to use. So in conclusion, I just want to remind you that we can invest our time and our energy and our abilities, or we can spend them. Investing and spending are both business terms. Investing brings about long-term gain, while spending is a recurring expense that we have to keep making. So for an example, we could invest in continuing education for ourselves, and we could buy paper for the printers and photocopiers. If you get that backwards and you start spending money on continuing education, you're going to find that you're buying programs that really don't matter, and you're choosing it based on something like the cost of the program rather than the benefits it's going to give. So don't get that backwards. You want to invest in yourself. I really encourage you to have some quiet time each day. For me, it's at the beginning of the day. Set aside where I can meet with the Lord and listen for what He has to say to me for the coming day. Don't neglect the fellowship of believers and like-minded folks, and make sure that you take time off. You need to learn to say no. When we say yes, we leave no room for God's best. Most often, getting caught in the trap of saying yes is because we're flattered by the offer, or we think it's something that we could do and knock it off pretty easily, and we find out it's way more than we ever planned for. So learn to say no. Keep what's most important in mind, and that's why it's critical to ask that question at the beginning of each day. What is the most important thing I need to accomplish today, and how long is it going to take me? Most of all, lean into God, because without Him, we'll have no time, no strength or energy, and no abilities. One of my favorite verses is in Zechariah 4:6. Not by might, not by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord of hosts. So that's just a reminder to all of us that we need God, we need His direction, we need His wisdom if we're going to function and do well. I'd like to leave you with just a quick note here about my Leave a Legacy, Write Your Life Story program. I'm launching this program in a free 4-day online webinar challenge, February the 4th through the 7th, just 1 hour a day. And I would like to invite you to join me on that. Even if you've never considered writing your life story, you probably know an elderly relative who might need some help in that direction, or a friend, somebody perhaps who's facing a critical health diagnosis and is unsure of how much time they might have, which is true of all of us, by the way. None of us is sure of how many years we have left. But this is a great webinar and a challenge. It'll give you lots of great hints on how to start a story and what to put in the middle, and then how to fill it up. The website is www.thepurposefulwriter.com/leave-a-legacy. And you can just go over there, you can download a free gift that'll help you learn how to tell your story in 3 to 5 minutes. So if you're asked suddenly at a party or a staff meeting or at a family dinner, or tell us about yourself, you'll know where to start, what to tell them, what to leave out, and where to end. Well, thank you for joining me today. I look forward to meeting with you again.